Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you a little bit about dating a married woman. There are many Filipinas here who are married. They are paper married, they are legally married to their Filipino spouse, but they call themselves separated. Now, what is your protection here in the Philippines based on Philippine law? Now, here in the Philippines, adultery is against the law. It's a criminal offense. You can go to jail for that. In most cases, when this happens, it's because the husband is found out, he has filed charges against you and his wife. He cannot just file charges against you, but he has to file charges against you and his wife. A lot of times I've heard stories where a man tries to extort money out of a foreigner, saying, I'm going to press charges. Well, being here in the Philippines and watching how Philippine law works and how quickly the courts system here actually goes after criminals, which is a joke. They really don't move fast. This is a very slow moving process here in the Philippines. For someone to file charges against you, they have to get a lawyer. They have to go and file the charges. Then there's a court case to see if the charges are worth pursuing. And this could have been 6 months from the first day that the husband filed the charges against you. Then, once he wins the case, maybe he wins monetary damages. Maybe you and his wife have to go to jail. Very seldom, I'm talking about like 1 out of 10,000 cases, does it even get as far as going to court. Most of the lawsuits and criminal actions against adultery here in the Philippines is usually a rich Filipino family. The man, his wife has gotten pregnant or has been with another Filipino or another man, and he wants to file charges against her and against him and start the annulment process. Very seldom is it a poor family, a middle class family, that the husband is going to file charges against his wife, who he has probably deserted. They've been separated for many years. And now, guys, remember, I'm talking about you having an affair with a married woman who is not living with her husband. If she's living with her husband, run fast. That is just trouble. That's a 2-week millionaire thing. Come here, hit it, forget it, and go on with your life. But maybe you found someone you really like, and they were married 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, and they've been separated for 6, 7 years. No child support, no support to her, no contact between the husband and her. Maybe that husband has another family on a different island. Very seldom would that husband be living on the same island as this woman that you're seeing, the married woman. So on a legal end, yes, it's against the law to do it. 2, on an enforceable, can they enforce that? Sure they can, but it costs money. To file charges against somebody costs a lot of money. Can they be blackmailing you? They could try, but blackmail is against the law here. So they're as guilty as you are. You know, you have to have clean hands to go to court. So if you go to court and they are filing charges against you and the woman for committing adultery, but you have texts, emails, information that they've been trying to extort money from you, blackmail you, well, both parties are guilty. You, his wife, and him. So the chances of it going to court are very small. More likely, it is similar to the case, something back home. You're playing baseball as a kid, or your son is playing baseball, and they hit the ball and they break a window of a neighbor's house. So the neighbor says, you pay for the window, I don't call the police. That is not blackmail, that's just a settlement. So maybe you want to do a little settlement to have them go away, but remember, if you give money to anybody under those circumstances, what is going to stop them from coming back at you at a later date? I think you're far better off calling their bluff. Tell them, hey, take me to court. Charge me with adultery. I don't think anything's going to happen. It costs a lot of money to go to court, and I've watched so many court cases lately here of people with assault charges, people with stealing money, people who are forging documents, people who are, stealing money out of people's bank accounts. They haven't yet to go to court yet. And we're looking at years have gone by. Years. I remember one case that started 3 years ago, and it still hasn't gone to court yet. So one, the chances of the court system taking the time to prosecute you, a state attorney, something of this nature, they're not going to do it. The man who is filing the charges against you or threatening to file charges against you, he has to go get an attorney. And even if he wins, his wife and you both have to serve the same jail sentence. And is he really going to put his wife, the mother maybe of one of his children, in jail? I doubt that very much. Now, let's talk about the moral obligations. As a man, you shouldn't be dating a married woman. And I understand the system here in the Philippines. There's no divorce. But if you're dating a married woman and you know she's married from the very beginning, and they haven't been separated along at all, you have to look at the moral obligations there. One, you can never marry that girl. Ever. Two, if you have plans to take a woman back to the U.S. with you, it won't happen because she has to prove she's single and has the ability to marry you. Those things can stop you from continuing with your relationship. And three, like I said, the moral obligation. If she is married and living with her husband, that's you being a bad guy, especially if you know about it. It's definitely a bad guy. And if it's a man who has deserted his wife and they've been separated for many years, well, that's something else now. Now you really, this is something you have to decide, is the woman worth it? And I'm saying worth it by meaning everything else she tells you is the truth. You're in love with this woman, and this is the choice you've made. This is the bed you're making. And morally, you have to look her in the eye every day knowing that she's married and not divorced yet. Pay for the annulment. That's an easy way to go about it. I don't think it's easy. It's very time consuming and very expensive. You're talking about $5,000 to $6,000 US to file an annulment and carry it all the way through the court system. And even at the very end, the last judge that's going to look at that, he can just say, no, there's no divorce here in the Philippines. I'm not going to allow this annulment. So, guys, this is a very touchy subject. Do I think you're going to go to jail for a long time being with a married woman? No, I don't. Do I think you're going to get blackmailed? There's always the possibility that someone is going to try and separate you from your money. Do I think a wife and a husband would do something to hook you? Use you as a mark. Use you as someone they're trying to scam. Hey, sleep with my wife, or the wife seduces you, and then the husband comes out of nowhere just trying to get a few dollars out of you. I don't think so. That would be so far and few for a husband and wife team to morally want to blackmail somebody using his wife's sexuality. And this is something that you have to keep an eye on. This is you. You're a grown man. You've been around the world. You're here in the Philippines. You're traveling. You have life experiences. You should know that it is wrong to be with a married woman, but the choice is yours. Now, let's take the one defense that you can have with being with a married woman. You did not know she was married. A lot of times, it's a question you shouldn't ask. Or if you do, just face to face. Don't have any texts. Don't message her or send her an email asking her if she's single or married, and she comes back and tells you she's married. And that can be held against you, that you knew she was married, if it ever evolved to the point that it was a court case. But I don't see that. I think there was only one conviction in 2023 for adultery in the Philippines. And that was a very rich man in Manila against his wife, against another Filipino man. So do I think this is something that happens often here? No. Do I think it's something to worry about? No. I think if you find the right girl, she's been married, been separated for a long time, I'm just telling you, enjoy your life. But just know the limitations. You can never take her to the U.S. as a fiance visa or as your wife. Two, you're always going to be living, if you're a religious man, in sin. because you know she's married. That's the moral obligations. How do you feel inside? Do you forgive her? It's not her fault. A lot of women get married at a young age, and here, since there's no divorce, they're committed to that marriage forever. Just put the shoe on the other foot, guys. You're back home. The first woman you married, and the law said you cannot ever divorce her. You would have ended up leaving her and going your separate ways and doing the same thing that this woman here that you've met in the Philippines is doing. You know, you agreed to separate. You've been separated for many, many years. You just legally can't get married again. And that's the situation here. It's not a comfortable situation to be in. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where they blog about you'll be in jail for 6 years, 10 years. I don't think so. It's a moral decision on your part. Just because she was married once before does not mean she's not a good girl. It does not mean she doesn't love you. It means she made a mistake. And the way the law is here in the Philippines, she can't get out of it unless you pay for the annulment. It's a very complicated situation. It's something you have to decide. I did a video about what if the husband found out. I'll put it at the end of this video, at the end screen, that you can click on the video, and I'll also put it in the description and pin it in the comment section if you want to see what happened to this one guy who decided to be with a married woman and the husband found out. But as for my advice to all you guys out there, in the initial stages, there are so many women here to choose from. A married woman is not really my first choice. But if you end up meeting somebody and she's been separated and she was married and still married, and you do love her and she cares for you, the precedent here for going to jail, there's a lot of court case involved here to have that happen. Don't worry about being extorted. If someone's asking you for money, just ignore them. Just tell them to have their lawyer contact you, and then you get a lawyer and have the two lawyers talk and settle it out. Don't ever pay somebody, because if you pay somebody, what's to stop them from coming back later asking for more? At least if you have lawyers involved and you're paying somebody, you can get something in writing that says that they will never charge you, they'll never prosecute you, and they'll never try to extort from you again. Protect yourself at all times. Be like Rocky. You know, Rocky's manager used to tell him, put your hands up, protect yourself. Married women here in the Philippines, and along with single moms here in the Philippines, are a bunch of beautiful, gorgeous, nice people who made a mistake earlier in life. Do we hold that against them? How many women have you dated in the U.S. that were divorced and had kids, so they're a single mom? How many of you guys are single dads? And how many times have you ever dated a married woman? You've never thought that? I remember when I was going to college in Cleveland, and I was at a bar in downtown Cleveland. There was this pretty girl that was in my class, and we started talking at the bar, and she goes, well, you know, I'm happily married. And I said, well, so am I. So, you know, we've all been there. Just don't play the moral card. Don't act like you're much better than everybody else, but take into consideration the woman, your feelings, and the situation. If it's early in a relationship, I'm going to tell you, leave it and look for somebody else. But if you're really involved and you really love that woman, that's up to you. You've been warned. I don't think it's that dangerous to be with a married woman, but it is against the law. Anyway, guys, Janet bought me this cool cup. Mike's Coffee Shop. Until next time.